welcome back to another Warriors Walk. Welcome back. Before we get into it, guys, I need you to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Warriors Collection Network, where you can catch all our podcasts, catch all these videos, the Warriors Walk new series, the Warriors Defense Collection, um, and see all the other content that we have put out. Please go subscribe to the channel. If you're seeing this on TikTok, subscribe here or follow here. And if you have an IG, go to my bio. I'm sure there's an IG button there. Hit that IG button and follow us there on the IG. Um, it's Warriors underscore collection underscore network. All right. Please go and follow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So today we're coming from Genesis 12, chapter 12, verse 1 through 4. And the goal is to keep these things under 15 minutes because I don't want to go off into a tangent and just share so much that the main point of what I'm talking about is lost. So we're going to stay hyper focused on the topic and keep these things under 15 minutes. And I hope that it is a blessing to you that you can look back on your or look at your own life and uh, see if it's relative to you, if this is making sense to you. All right, so let's go ahead and start. Now the Lord hath said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and I will make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curse thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed, as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. May God have a blessing to the readers and doers of his word. So out of this, out of this this little passage, out of this little at the beginning of this chapter, I was hit with, you can't be obedient and not have faith. You can't have faith and be obedient because they go hand in hand. In this passage, Abraham was told to leave everything that he knew, everything, the land, his father, his family, everything. He was told to leave and go to a land that he doesn't know nothing about. God promised that he would make his name great, that he would make his family great, that he would curse that he would curse those that cursed him and bless those that blessed him in this land, right? Abraham moved with the speed of obedience. He just left. The Bible does not say that he thought about it or he questioned anything. It said Abraham left. And Abraham was 75 years old. 75 years old. So I mean, can you imagine that? Being 75 and restarting life, doing something totally new, moving to a location that you know nothing about, leaving everything that you know behind. Because God says so. I mean, a lot of times, God tells us to do things and we gripe and we fuss about it, or we have to question it. That's no good. That's no good. That's no good. That's no good. We're supposed to be moving as soon as he says move. If God points us to this direction, we need to be going in that direction. You know why? Because God knows. He knows all. He knows what he has planned for you. He knows all, and he knows what he has planned for you. God is not going to put you in a position where you are going to fail miserably. That's not saying that you're not going to go through some things, that you're not going to have a storm, or you might not go through a valley or any of that. That's not what that's saying. It's saying that God has something, he has something in store for you. So you need to go this way because this is the best route to that, right? And as I look back on my own life, this little section right here is, I can relate to it. I can relate to it because in 2019, we moved from Indiana. My will was to go to Virginia Beach, get a condo, live on the beachfront, and eat seafood all the time. That was my idea. That was, me and my wife, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to be in By Beach, living it up in a condo on the beach, enjoying life, right? That's what we wanted to do. And then 2020 happened in the midst of us moving. We wanted to move in 2019. We moved in early March of 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. And from from then, God has been pulling us, molding us into what He wanted us to be. He's been He moved us out of Virginia into a location in southern Alabama that I knew nothing about. And the whole time that we was living in Virginia and we was looking for a house because we was living in an apartment, um, my prayers every day, my prayer was, God, let Your will be done. Um, the housing market was insane. The cost of things were insane. It was insane. Still kind of insane, right? And all I could do was just lean on God to to make a way because I didn't know how anything was going to be possible. I had no idea what was coming or what was going to happen. But we had found a house in Bristol, Virginia, and I thought we was going there. And actually, we found two properties. We found a property in Martinsville, Virginia, and we thought we was going there. And things was not clicking. Things were not lining up the way they should have been lining up. And that's the one thing. If it's a part of God's will, it's gonna be smooth sailing. Everything's gonna click. Everything is gonna happen. All you gotta do is follow His will. Be obedient to His word. Be obedient. Be obedient to what He is telling you to do, and it's gonna be smooth sailing. You don't have to stress about anything because God has you. He has you. And in this situation, Martinsville was not the location that we were supposed to be moving to, right? We was in contact with a builder that was supposed to be building a home there. Couldn't get in contact with the builder. Couldn't get in contact with the people that were supposed to be testing the ground. No, it was horrible, horrible. So after wasting a month or so, no, about 2 months actually, wasting 2 months trying to get that, we said, all right, we're done with that. We're moving on. So then we found another house in Bristol that we wanted. It was in the mountains, um, or in the base of the mountains, right? We wanted to move there. So we put in all the paperwork. We got approved and all of that. Well, we didn't get approved because the banks did not like, or the VA didn't like something, and the paperwork on their side wasn't correct. There was some, uh, I think, a lien on a trailer or something that was also attached to the property. So it was a bunch of stuff, just again, not lining up with God's will. And as I just told you, if it's from God, it's going to be smooth. It's going to be smooth. Even in the midst of the storm, it's going to be smooth. And this was not smooth. There was no calming. There was there was no peace in this process at all. So, our lease was coming up on the end. It was coming up, and we had to be out of there. We thought we was getting this house, and we didn't sign a new lease because we thought we was getting this house. And on top of that, they had increased the rent, and we was like, oh man, my wife was stressing. I was I would say I wasn't stressing. I was just like, okay, what's the next move? What are you gonna do, Brian? And all I could do was pray. And my prayers every day, every morning that I got up at 4:30 every morning, God, let Your will be done. If this is not meant for us, shut it down. Close the door on it right away. And that was my prayer every time. And when you pray things like that, sometimes you don't understand that you're telling God, hey, if this is not a part of what You have planned for us, to close it. But in real time, when you're seeing this stuff play out, you're not remembering that prayer that you prayed, and this is God doing what you've asked Him to do. And that is exactly what He did. He shut down two doors and got us out of that state. We had to be out of it. We moved. We ended up moving Somehow we found a place in Alabama, southern Alabama. Um, we found a place in southern Alabama. I didn't even know about. I grew up in Alabama. I was born in Alabama, but we ended up moving. But I knew nothing about southern Alabama. The furthest south I knew was Selma. I can't even say that I knew about Mobile. I can't even say I knew about Mobile, but Selma, Alabama was the furthest. I knew about Montgomery because it was the capital, but we never been there. But we ended up moving to a little town, a little town, I guess it's called Wing, Alabama. And then I don't even, again, I don't know how we found it. It was God. It was God. We the guy let us rent his place. We rented it. Uh, we got there, and then we started looking again, and the prayers continued to be the same. God, let your will be done. You know what we need. You know all the things that we need. You know what we want. Let your will be done. Um, we ended up moving to another place in Peterman, Alabama. We found a house, and here we are. So I said all this. I said all that to say this. When you're being obedient, you gotta have faith. And in those moments where things did not look right for me, where things did not look like, you know, my wife thought we was gonna be homeless because we didn't have nowhere to go. You gotta have faith. And I had faith that God was gonna take us. You know, I made the move. I made the move out of Indiana. Left everything that I knew in Indiana, you know, my family, everything. I left it. And we moved to Virginia. And we thought we was gonna be there. And God uprooted us and moved us and brought us here. And he brought us here for a reason. Everyone always asks, why are you here in this location? You seem like you have a plan, you have an idea for what you want your business to be. Well, why in this location? Because this ain't it. And literally my response is God's will. God has a plan. I don't know what it is, but I believe it and I know he's gonna bring us to it. And that's what Abram did. Abram was told to leave his family and everything he knew behind because of God's promise. The week before, we talked about the promises in Noah. How God promised that there was going to be a rain coming, and years had went by. Years had went by. The, the rain came. Noah built the ark. He had faith that God was going to bring the rain, and he was being obedient. He was being obedient he was being obedient to what God's word. God told him to build the ark. He built the ark. And he had faith that God was going to save his family. That's what God did. And then after a while, God receded the waters. They was able to get off the ark. Obedience and faith. And here we are again looking at obedience and faith in the early chapters of this story. There's so many stories, so many lessons attached to this, but that's the first lesson I want you to grasp. You can't be obedient without having faith. You can't have faith without being obedient. Because God is going to require you to do some things that's going to require you to believe. The Bible says, just have faith the size of a mustard seed. I told you guys this last week or the week before. Have faith the size of a mustard seed. Believe, because he's going to do it. He cannot deny himself. We may be faithless, but God is faithful. And that's my prayer, that I hope that if you're struggling in faith, and then if you're struggling in obedience, that you will seek God to give you the strength to be obedient. That you will seek God to give you the strength to lean more on your faith in him. Because we find it very easy to believe man, but man has failed us so many times. Man has failed us so many times, but God is not going to fail us. God is not going to fail you. God is not going to fail me. Even though I'm in the midst of I'm not going to say storm, but I'm in the midst of a journey right now. I believe and I know that God is going to bring us through. He's going to bring us through. He's going to take us to to the point where He wants us, and it's when we get there, it's gonna be perfect. So right now in this journey, I'm enjoying the journey because I am learning. Yes, it gets hard. It gets hard, especially when you're being told to do certain things and you're like, "Am I qualified to do that? Should I be doing that?" Be obedient. The Bible says obedience is better than sacrifice. You don't want to sacrifice. You don't want to sacrifice. That's going to be some hard times. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So, warriors, I hope that that motivates you. I hope that provokes some thoughts in your mind. I hope that provokes you to go and pick up the Bible and read Genesis verse 1 through 4. Matter, just read the whole chapter. Read it and look back on your life. Has God told you to do something? Have you questioned God? Did you lack faith in a situation where you should have been faithful? And even when you lack faith, did God still show up? Did God still show up for you? Did God still show up for you? Man, I'm telling you, when yes, yes, yes. But anyway, guys, I hope this was profound, and I hope um, that you can take something from this and apply it to your own life. All right. So with that being said, guys, again, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Warriors Collection Warriors Collection Network. Follow us on IG, Warriors underscore Collection underscore Network, and follow us on TikTok at Warriors Collection Brand. We're doing a bunch of things. We have a lot of new stuff, a lot of new content is coming up. But please follow, follow, follow. Let's spread the word. Um, let's spread the word. We gotta be the light. We gotta be the light. So make sure you are being that light. Be the light that God is calling you to be. On that note, warrior out.